if you'll sit down and binge watch 90 Day Fiance or Love on the Spectrum, don't tell me that my video games are for children. You fucking idiot. You've got nothing in your brain of any use. It's like you sitting down. It's like you sitting down and only eating celery and saying something about my bucket of chicken, my gourmet fried chicken. It's like what you're taking in has no calories, no depth, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like this might not be great for me, but it's goddamn good. It was made by a professional. Okay, the first thing we gotta do is Cornel West running for president. All right, let's go. Wow, talk about jeez. Okay, running for president is one of those weird things that people do even though they have no chance of winning. Running for president is one of those weird things that people do, and they know they have absolutely no fucking chance of winning. But let me see what his motivations are. Brother West, I've decided to run for truth and justice, which takes the form of running for president of the United States. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. Dr. West, I love you. I respect you, brother. But this is not a good idea. I think Dr. West is making the same miscalculation that Donald Trump did. Donald Trump won because here's the thing: being president is not a prize. It's a curse. It's a big, giant, fucking heaping weight put on your shoulders, and you don't realize it until you get it. Like running for president is one thing. That's gonna change your life fundamentally. And you are not a billionaire. So you can't have 24/7 security and all this other stuff. I mean, Donald Trump made that miscalculation. I think a lot of people, they think running for president is like one of those things. They're like, oh, you win some, you lose some, and then no. Your life will never be the same after that. And you might lose. And you might lose for reasons that turn you into memes. You might lose in spectacular fashion. I wasn't alive when Barry Goldwater ran for president, but I know his name because people use him as an example when they're talking about that time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Ross Perot famously lost. He was the first person I heard of that was a billionaire, right? And he lost a good chunk of his fortune running for president. So whatever. I mean, I don't. And
even
you running for
truth.
truth.
Lose money. I mean, what's the thing that Howard Dean is most famous for?
Yeah, he lost from a scream. What a lot of people don't know is he was actually he was the first candidate that used social media. Like he's the reason why Obama won. Yeah, because he lost, but then he became the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and he was responsible for their whole election strategy and everything, and they won the House, the Senate, and the White House. And then they fired him. Okay, I've decided to run for truth. So that's the other part of it. Even if you win, look, man, ain't no truth and justice being president of the United States. First of all, right off the bat, you got to keep like half of the shit you know secret. Ain't no truth. And they'll kill you if you don't. Because I honestly believe like the moment you become president, you go and swear in, and in that little Bible, it pricks your finger. When you go to swear on the Bible, when you touch it, it pricks your finger. It puts some kind of DNA specific virus or something. It's like they're like, hey, bro, you know that little pill shaped bomb we put in your spine? We'll blow that shit up and say you got shot. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what happened to Kennedy. They put a little bomb. They put a little bomb in your spine, and hold on, man, you can't be telling these bow. You He's probably on his way to tell some secrets. Anyway, truth, justice. How the fuck you gonna get that? First of all, being president doesn't give you either one of these powers. I don't know what this is about. He's getting up there in age. I have to, because I'm reading this, I have to see him give the speech. You know, because he enunciates and he uses a lot of big words and he's very respectful, brother. And I think a lot of times when people that are intellectuals, when they start fucking losing it, it's hard to tell because they still sound kind of intelligent. You know what I mean? Like when you're one of those people that's like, where you can come off like intimidatingly intelligent, I think a lot of people, they doubt themselves when they start to doubt you. You know what I'm saying? So he might have lost his fucking mind is what I'm trying to say. and we might be the last ones to know it because he's still so fucking smart that even him, a little dumbed down, is still smarter than the average person. So you're like, oh, okay, Dr. West, all right. You run for president? All right. For truth and justice. You running for president of the United States of America to further truth and justice. You know what I'm saying? How crazy that sounds? What do you think, Rob? Did I miss it? Did I miss a detail? Because I barely got it past the headline there.
He really hasn't staked out a claim. I mean, I don't think he believes he's going to win. First of all, he's too smart for that. I think that this is, you know how there's like a protest vote? I think this is like a protest campaign against a one-party system. And I agree with him on, you know, what a lot of the problems are. I agree with him almost 100% on that kind of stuff. I don't think him running for president is going to address or affect any of those things. So, you know, I think ultimately, if this has any effect, it would be to peel off voters from the nominally left Democratic Party, and maybe he doesn't care about that. Maybe he's an accelerationist. Maybe he wants that to happen. I don't know.
No. I mean, look, Rob. You know what? All that shit sound beautiful, but have any effect is. I mean, look, this will have some effect, like the way throwing a rock at a tank has a bit of an effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's like, oh,
in at
least we did something.
Right.
But this is not gonna have any impact whatsoever. I mean,
generally, I'm against third-party runs for president. I think that third-party runs tend to be solipsistic and self-centered, and it's generally just a way for somebody to launch a public media career or something like that, where they get to then go on CNN and Fox News and be a talking head. Because if you really want to affect political change from outside of the two-party system, but you want to do it in politics, that's one way. Mm-hmm. Or you can blow up a pipeline.
That's been the major way.
Not that I think you should do that.
I know, I do not think you should do any of these things, but those are the things I'm just observing. Those are the things that have changed things before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ross Perot,
yeah.
I mean, he
Ross Perot is dead.
Right. But I'm saying at the time, though, was it Ross Perot, the billionaire, that with Bush and Clinton when they ran, and he's the reason Clinton won?
Well,
yes and no.
I mean, they try to say that, man. But listen, candidates have won that had a third party candidate on their side. You know what I'm saying? Right. He's not the reason Clinton won. Clinton won by a lot. That's like you saying Bernie Sanders is the reason Trump won. You know what I mean? The only election you could really call
Bernie Sanders didn't run third party though.
Right, but still he siphoned votes. I mean, that's the claim people make.
But there was never a third party that was like on the debates like he was.
Who?
After that.
Ross Perot?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
they shut that shit down. That's a fact. But I mean, it's like once the country believes a lie, because every politician needs there to be some reason other than they lost. You know, the only election that's really disputable like that is the Clinton Gore joint. That's the only one that's disputable, and that one would have probably tore the country apart. But Al Gore finally just conceded. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's not even worth. I mean, it would be like if Trump this time was like, "Hey man, you know what? I lost the last one. Don't even trip." But Al Gore was just like, "It's not." Al Gore was like, "What it'll do to the country if we fight this?" You know what I'm saying? They got us. They cheated better because they all cheat.
Which I think is a bitch move.
Really?
I think Gore should have gone to the mat. I think he should have just pulled out all the stops.
No, well that's true, but not after the fact. I think he should have been cheating too. He should have cheated better. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I think that what I would say is that it's your responsibility to exhaust every legal option that's available to you. Once they're exhausted and once you've like lost, it's like, yeah, fine. Then you concede and then you move on, right? I think once the election is completely over, then whatever happens. But I do think it was a bitch move that he conceded before all of his options were exhausted.
Yeah, but I think he knew how that would go. Going to the Supreme Court. Eventually it was going to go back to the court who you already knew how that was going to go. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was just dragged it out even further. Plus, here's the other thing. After every election, and I didn't see it, that was my first election that I voted.
Okay.
The Gore Bush joint, and maybe it was the John Kerry Bush. No, it was both. Gore Bush was the first one I voted. Now, I didn't notice at the time because that was the first time I gave a fuck. But every election since then, and every election before that, the losing side always says the same stuff. It was like, do we find in ballot boxes in the woods? We got, it's voter fraud over there, and it's like, who knows?
I think it's your job to work the refs, though. I mean, it's like in sports when you challenge a play when they're even though you're like, look, 10% chance it's gonna come back in our direction, but like this is the option that we got. We got to challenge this.
But is it a 10% chance? What happens when it's not that high?
Well,
wasn't it up to Florida and Jeb Bush was the governor, his brother?
Yeah, all of those things. Jeb Bush was the governor. There were miscounted votes, and they were hanging chads. There was a whole thing, man. But it's one of those things where it's like, hey, man, you took the L. It was very clear there was no way that was going to get overturned. They set it up. They set it up so beautifully that, I mean, I don't know who was in charge of the Bush shit, but they already had. All the judges and everything lined up for the challenge. Like, it's no way you was going. Like,
it was Amy Coney. Brian, it was Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh.
That's what I'm screaming at you. They already they knew that if it came close, they knew they needed to get a couple counties, but they already had it set up. They was like they knew if it was challenged, where it was going to go, and they already had that set up. And Al Gore looked at this political situation and was like, I'm sure he knew he was privy to information that we don't have. But when he saw the path to winning, he knew it was impossible. He would have had to get through like 5 judges that was appointed by Bush's father, or something like that. He was like, and so he knew it would have been a good political look if he'd planned on continuing his political career, but John Kerry ran the next election, so he was, he knew it would have just done what's happening right now. It would have done what Trump did, where it was like you would have still lost, but you would have made the country even more divided for no reason. At least that's what he says. That's what he said. That he conceded because he saw the fight as simply divisive. There was no way he was going to win that fight.
It was probably the best thing that could have happened to Al Gore, to be honest. Because after that, he got to make movies and hang out with Leonardo DiCaprio.
And he got to tell a little truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even South Park apologized to him.
Did they?
Really?
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, because remember they were doing like he'd run around, be like Pigman Bear, oh no, and it was all about global warming.
Man Bear Pig.
Man Bear Pig, yeah. And then later on they came back and they're like, oh shoot, Man Bear Pig is real, and they apologized to Al Gore.
Oh, Rob, we didn't start with the elephant in the room. You had a baby, my nigga.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Rob's having a baby.
Thank
he had
you.
a baby.
Thank you.
Baby was born early.
As of this recording, she is 5 days old.
Yeah, we've been sending report. Man, do you know somebody commented? Somebody sent me a thing, like a few people actually. They thought the episode didn't come out because I was playing Diablo. Come on, y'all.
No,
I played
my
the
fault.
fuck out some Diablo though. I played the fuck out some Diablo. I'm telling you. I
Yeah,
took
what level you at now, Brian?
57.
Wow.
Okay, dude. Well, you sleeping because somebody's
lose
already
power?
hit 100, level 100 on hardcore mode.
It's the TV.
People are fast out here.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Hardcore mode is kind of crazy. Hardcore mode is for crazy ass people. I had a friend that the homie Eric did. I guess he didn't know nothing about Diablo. He didn't know what a hardcore mode was. And he texted me like, "Yo, Diablo 4 was bullshit. You only get one life." Oh man, that was the best. Yeah, hardcore mode is for people that like their nipples clamped. Okay, why on earth would you do that? Why on earth would you invest that kind of time and energy into something that can end with one slip up? Oh Lord. Yeah, reaching level 100 on hardcore is crazy because listen, I've been playing an unreasonable amount of Diablo 4. You know, because I set 2 days aside just so I could lock in on Diablo 4. And I played like I was a teenager. Like it was too much. You know, I had to take a break. But it's mind-blowing to me that someone's level 100 because when you think about how long that would take, like this person must have been locked in a room on some no-dose and coffee. I mean, they must have been playing. They must have played like 72 out of the 48 or the 100 and how many hours is 40? 96 hours that the game's been out. They must have played 70 of those hours. Like that's how long it would take to reach that level.
I mean, it's not only that; it's that they didn't slip up because they would have had to start over if they had died once. So it's not even like people who speed run, you know, Skyrim, which has been out for a decade at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no FAQ. There's no game guide for Diablo 4 out right now.
I mean, and not only that, but look, the map is gigantic. Just traversing the map takes forever, or just min-maxing your builds takes forever. That's one thing I think they need to work on. They need to add some storage to the backpack or something, because I feel like every time you do anything, you got to go back to town and sell shit and break shit down. Like in an unreasonable, you know what I mean? Like if you do one activity, you got to go back to town. You should be able to do 2 or 3 things before you have to stop the fun part and go do the fucking paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Right.
Also, motherfuckers. So there was a weird glitch that didn't turn me off, but very, very Blizzard Activision. If you buy anything in the in-game shop, which costs platinum or whatever, like that you buy, you know, it's like every other game. You buy coins with real money and you buy shit in the shop. Buy anything in the game shop, there's a fucking soothsayer bitch. There's a fortune teller bitch. It's like, right? And she does this long animation that you can't skip when you open the shop. And after you buy something, she does another long animation to reveal it to you, right? And if you don't wait till the end of that animation, you won't get your shit. and the money's gone. And the thing ain't in the shop no more for you to buy. That's what happened to me. I bought 3 things before I realized, like, wait a minute, none of this shit is in here. and then obviously there's no response from their customer service. I posted shit in the forums, but it's like, whatever. They just took my money. You know what I mean? And
this is a known glitch now that they fixed or that they patched, or
I don't know if it's known. I don't know if I'm the only one that dealt with it. But yeah, you gotta wait till this bitch finishes waving her arms for no fucking reason. Like the purchase should go through immediately. But you gotta wait for this long. Look, guys, this is one of the best games of all time. But can we please stop it with the unskippable cutscenes and the unskippable conversations? Like, I should be able to never, ever, ever hear anybody talk. And which is wild because you can skip all the main story and all this, but peppered throughout the games are conversations that you just have to sit there and listen to. Every single major cutscene you can just skip. 99% of the conversations in the game you can just skip. But it's, for whatever reason, there's still some stupid fuck at the development team that's like, I think they should have to sit through this one. Look at my brilliant work that I did. Nobody should be able to skip this. It's like little stuff like that I'm complaining about. I had a lot of fun. But again, it's very Activision Blizzard that there's some mechanism that can take your money. Like there's never a problem on the take your money side. You know what I'm saying? The problem is always on you on the get the product side. The mechanism to take your money, that shit always work flawless. I've never had a problem making a purchase. You know what I mean? My problem is always receiving the purchase or what I got when I purchased it. But to open the game and the first bug I encounter is that I don't get the shit I bought. It's kind of crazy. And I can't be the first one that had the problem, but I can't find it anywhere else. But yeah, you can't skip them animations, man. You can't skip them animations. Just so y'all know. Yeah, other than that, a couple of technical server things, but, not anywhere near what you would normally see on a typical launch day, even though I guess today is officially launch day, so maybe they're going to have a lot of problems today. But it was a lot of things.
There's going to be some stress test issues with the servers and shit like that once everybody gets online.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you would think that if their claims of being the most pre-ordered game of all time are true, that they would be ready. But we also know that this is Activision we're talking about. Man.
That's true.
Yeah. I guess I would only be happy if like Apple bought it. Microsoft was going to buy it maybe improve the customer facing stuff, but they're going to fuck it up too.
My understanding is like a lot of. Go ahead. I was going to say I know a bunch of people who work at Blizzard, and Blizzard has gotten better in the last couple of years in a lot of ways. It's so all the
but that's the same thing racists say about America.
True. Well,
it's better.
It is better.
It is technically.
I mean, it's good.
Right. It's better the same way throwing a rock at a tank. It's like, no, that's not true. It's significantly better. Yeah, and maybe that's true. But guess what? It's the same CEO. See, this is what I'm learning about these major situations. It's like, you can have all the best people in the world, but if it got to be filtered through a fucking psychopath, you're going to still get results that are like psychopathic in nature.
Yeah.
The good person has to be the person at the top for that to mean anything to me. You go there with your little.
People can get to the top.
Precisely. That's why we're doomed, Rob. Good people don't get to the top. We talked about this. The sort of people that get to the top are the sort of people that want power.
Yeah.
And it's not very hard for you to become one of those people. You can start out as a good person, and you go, man, you know what? Someone should do something about this. You know what? No one will do something about this. If anybody should do it, I'll do it. You know what? I should do everything. Everything should go through me. I have the best ideas. And I know this because that's what comedy is. That's what stand-up is. It's full of a bunch of people that have learned how to turn their narcissism on and off. I think that's what professional artists are. You know, it's somebody that you have to maintain your humility and all this and everything. And every now and then you gotta be able to flip a switch that goes, I have the best ideas in this situation right now, and everyone should hear them or see them. You know what I'm saying? You got to think like that. You got to really think you're the best for you to. You know, it's like athletes. You know, you really got to think. You really have to think that you can win a boxing match. If you want to be the world champion, that means you think you can beat anybody. And people think it's crazy to hear.
Do you think that you need some level of delusion to be? Because how do you map out the line between having to be delusional to become a great comedian, a great artist, a great athlete, but at some point one of those people goes from being delusional to actually being the best, and they're no longer delusional?
I think it tempers back and forth. To me, it's like a pendulum.
Okay.
You know, it's like sometimes this is just me speaking personally. Sometimes it's swinging one way, and because the belief is necessary to keep moving, but it's tempered by this fear of becoming a fucking diabolical tyrant, right? So you have to push real hard one way to get things done, but you got to push back the other way to not lose yourself, I think. But that has nothing to do with how great of a comedian you are. That's just about being successful, which is, those things are not mutually exclusive. You know, I mean, those things are mutually exclusive.
Sure. Those are two distinct things. Being a great artist and being a successful artist are two different things.
Those are two different things. And you can be both. You know, I'm not saying you can't be both. I'm just saying one really doesn't have that much to do with the other. Because this is the truth. Every person I know that's quote unquote made it, whether that's because I know a bunch of comics, rappers, and actors that are all the mixtures of the two. They're either talented and made it, talented and didn't make it, or not that talented and made it, or not that talented and didn't make it, and they all, you know, and it's this whole mixture of the two. And it's like, and there's people where it's like they have no talent and they have complete belief in themselves. You know, and so then they have to rationalize their lack of. Because here's the other thing: the people that didn't make it, that are talented, usually have the respect of their peers. You know, that's how you can usually tell the difference is the people, you know, and the people that made it that aren't that talented, they usually don't. So
that's usually when people say, "Oh, he's an artist," or he's a comic, or he's a
that means he's
writer's
broke.
writer.
That means he's broke. Name. You know, I guess that's not true, but it kind of is.
Well, I think it's notable when the person who is the most successful in a particular medium or occupation is recognized as the best by their peers. You know what I mean? I think that
but even that you're pulling from a pool of like the best in the game.
Sure.
You know,
as opposed to what?
As opposed to the best person in the world. You know, now maybe comedy is different. Maybe comedy is different because it, you know, the analogy kind of falls apart because comedy is its own unique thing in the sense that you can't practice. Like you don't practice like you practice live. You have to. Like there's no stand up that counts if you're not doing it in front of a crowd, right? So,
right.
So that's where it separates from all the other shit. So what I'm saying is because of that, you know, there's usually pretty accurate consensus about who's good and who isn't. Because you can't really market somebody in the stand up like you can with a song. You know, you can put a shitty song out and you can just make sure it's played a million times and then it'll become something. You know what I mean? It'll become a thing.
Or I mean, you can be the world's best painter or sculptor and just keep your works of art in your studio, and nobody really ever sees them, right?
Or
and
you
can still make an argument that person is still, even if
Right.
nobody ever sees your art, you're the greatest painter. But when you're talking about a performing art like acting or comedy or maybe even certain types of music or whatever, certain types of performance, an audience is a necessary aspect of that art form. Right?
No, but I don't lump it. I don't lump in all performing arts because none of
I'm
them.
not saying this is explicitly about all performing arts, but I'm saying the types of art that I'm talking about there tend to be performing arts where
Right.
audience is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. So I digress. My point is, it's possible to be It's possible either way to let your ego, like, to lose that battle. You know, some people keep a balance, and some people lose that battle, and some people they gave up a long time ago. Their ego is just massive and out of control.
Right.
You know, and I don't know what those people do. I think my cure is depression. Occasional severe and crippling depression that I constantly fight it, so it keeps me humble. I honestly believe if there was ever a cure, mushrooms. If mushrooms are ever legal, it might turn me into a monster. Who knows? Welcome back to one of our favorite sponsors, Diet Smoke. Known for their premium THC gummies, Diet Smoke is derived from 100% American-grown hemp. With Diet Smoke's vast selection, there's a perfect gummy waiting just for you. Oh, man, they sent me a treasure trove of Diet Smoke, and I liked every single flavor. I can't even pick a favorite. There's something in there for everybody. I shared it with the homies. They all liked it. I can't believe that you can get something like this in the mail. Every product package has its third-party lab test accessible via QR code, so you know you're only getting the best. If you're not completely satisfied with your experience, Diet Smoke's money-back guarantee will make it right. Go to DietSmoke.com and use code BS for 15% of your first purchase. On the fence about what to try first, Diet Smoke will let you try their gummies for free. Yes, you heard me right. Free. Just over to DietSmoke.com/free and use code FREE4 at the checkout. Just pay $1 for shipping and you're good to go. Remember, you must be 21 or older to purchase. Enjoy responsibly. Give Diet Smoke a shot and embark on a delicious journey with their premium THC gummies today.
Well, Brian, that takes us to one of the articles that I wanted to bring up. Did you see this article? Manipulating light can induce psychedelic experiences, and scientists aren't quite sure why.
You know what? That's the very top one, isn't it? Okay, I'm interested in this. Let me see here from side posts. For millennia, people have used mind-altering techniques to achieve different states of consciousness, envision spiritual figures, connect with nature, or simply for the fun of it. Psychedelic substances in particular have a long and controversial history, but for just as long, people have been having these experiences without drugs too, using rhythmic techniques such as rocking, chanting, or drumming. Facts. Perhaps the most powerful technique of this kind is flickering light, called GANZFLICKER. Who the fuck said? No one calls it that. GANZFLICKER effects can be achieved by
German.
turning. Oh, it's German? GANZFLICKER.
Yeah, GANZFLICKER.
Effects can be achieved by turning a light on and off or by alternating colors in a rapid rhythmic pattern like a strobe. This can create an instant psychedelic experience. GANZFLICKER elicits striking visual phenomena. People can see geometric shapes in illusory colors, but sometimes and also complex objects such as animals and faces, all without any chemical stimulants. Sometimes GANZFLICKER can even lead to altered states of consciousness, such as losing a sense of time or space and emotions, ranging from fear to euphoria. Although its effects are little known, today GANZFLICKER has influenced and inspired many people through the ages, including the two of us. We are an art historian and brain scientist working together on an interactive showcase of GANZFLICKER techniques. Wait a minute, what's a brain scientist? Don't they got a name for that? I ain't never heard nobody called that. Isn't that a neurologist or a neuroscientist? Okay.
Neuroscientist. Yeah.
Maybe he's talking to the. Okay. Our collaboration is culminated in the museum exhibition GANZFLICKER. Okay, this sounds like an ad for their ad expedition.
Well, yeah. The thing that's interesting to me is if you go further down to the bottom, they talk about they still don't really know why this happens, but one of the most prominent hypotheses.
I bet you casinos do.
Why it works. Yeah. One of the most prominent hypotheses, though, is that there is something about the rhythmic flickering that sort of moves in unison with the electrical impulses of the brain, and that you can enhance the effects of it by altering the rhythm of the flickering lights or strobing to the brain itself. So there are lots of experiments being conducted right now to figure out how do you make this effect more reliable and more robust, like a stronger effect. Because I think what's interesting about this is with drugs. Look, I've done psychedelics before, and they're awesome, and they're fucking great. But if you have a bad trip, you're sort of on that roller coaster until it comes back to the station. Whereas with something like, a sensory deprivation tank or something like that, if you have a bad trip, you just sit up and you're done. With the GANZFLICKER thing, if you can trigger psychedelic experiences, but then if you have a bad time, you just turn off the machine. That sounds amazing to me.
Sounds like MK Ultra.
Plus, you don't have the issues with dosage.
It sounds like cheating. Hey guys, take these chances. Speaking of which, I think someone's going to use this on those. Did you see yesterday the new Apple, the daggone
augmented reality?
Yeah. I told you that shit was gonna take off till Apple started doing it, and they was gonna do it, and they was gonna do it better than everybody else, and they was gonna do their own little Apple thing, and now that shit looks cooler than motherfucker. That shit might give me the switch. Now that headset gonna be about $4,500.
35.
Please believe.
35. Well, actually, you know what? You're right because it starts at 35, but that's gonna be the shit base model.
Who said 35? Apple didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Apple didn't say 35.
We'll start at $3,499. That's going to be the base model, though, for the one that launches next year. And then there's probably going to be for you to actually get. It's like when they say you can get a Mac tower for under $3,000. It's like you can.
Now what they didn't say was what was that cable coming off the back of everybody's head? What is that connected to? They never mentioned that. It's just a cable coming from everybody's head. They're not like, is that plugged into a computer? Is that plugged into the wall?
No, it goes into a battery pack. It goes into a battery pack that you can keep in your pocket. And you can swap them out. That's what I read. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's my understanding.
All right. Well, they look. They look like if they're doing it better than everybody.
It's gonna have an M2 chip. They said.
Have an M2 chip, which means, hey man, look, if you want to go all, like, man, for me to switch over, if I want to go all Apple everything, if I wanted to go iPhone, iPad, AirPods Max, desktop, augmented reality headset, Apple Watch. Am I missing something?
You said iPad.
Yeah, iPad, iPhone.
I think that's about everything.
Apple Watch, AirPods Max, AR headset, and my desktop. And I wanted to get the best of everything. I would have to
Apple
spend
display.
I had to spend like $50,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can do that. Might just start simple with the phone. But we're going to see. I'm going to see what the first live reviews of the headset are. Because here's the other thing. Apple's never put out a first-generation product that I can think of.
Well, we should talk about what it is.
Besides the iPhone. I mean,
because I think a lot of people that were talking about it, they're still talking about it as if it's a VR headset, and it is not a VR headset.
No, it's not VR. It's augmented reality.
Yeah, it's AR.
I suppose. I mean, listen, it's definitely going to be some VR shit happening. But what it does is it puts it. You know, this is really the future.
It can switch
honestly.
between them. It can actually dial between AR and full VR, but the killer function of it is the AR functionality because nobody else can do that.
Yeah, with all the cameras and sensors and all the other shit, it can basically put computer shit on top of what you're seeing in reality. I can have a fucking effectively a 45-inch 4K TV floating right here in front of my face.
And you're sitting on a beach.
And I'm on a plane, I'm on a beach, I'm wherever. That could happen, but you could just be in the room you're in. Or you could be,
No, but I'm saying in the room you're in, if you fully dial it to VR, you can put yourself on the moon or in the beach watching the big screen.
Yeah, that's pretty cool while you're doing spreadsheets and shit. And I remember when Google Glass tried to do it, everybody was like, yeah, but you're walking around with a fucking computer on your face. And now Apple's doing it, people are going to be like, this is pretty cool. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Google Glass was nowhere near what the fuck this is, but just being to me, Google completely gave up on it. And that's what I'm getting sick of.
Well,
I'm getting
you look like a fucking dork with the Google Glass on, dude. You look like a fucking dork. Whereas these look like some sci-fi shit.
No, you still look like a dork with this on. Come on. No,
well,
like
you still look like a dork, but these look cool. The Apple Vision looks cool.
They look. I'll say they look sleek. They look sleeker than the Oculuses. They look sleeker than all that other stuff. Yeah, for sure. They look sleek, but they don't look cool. They look just as ridiculous.
They look like Ready Player
Google
One.
Glass looks like a shitty version of fucking Vegeta's power level scanner from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, but it's just like people. Listen, people. The AirPod Max look crazy to me. Those don't look cool at all. But they're See, that's the thing. From Apple, they're a status symbol. From anyone else, they just are what they are. You know what I mean? The Apple stuff doesn't have to look. A lot of the stuff Apple does is ridiculous, but Americans have adopted this view that Apple means, like, to them, Apple is Mercedes. Apple is like blue check mark. It's like they can do no wrong, and even if I buy something that I look fucking like a fucking idiot, everyone still knows it's Apple, so they know I got money. They know I spent money. That's what America. That's what that is, huh?
It's a luxury brand. It's like Dolce & Gabbana or whatever. It's like some of the there's a lot of people around here that wear that shit, and it looks fucking
imagine
stupid.
You telling me if you walk in with this headset on and your AirPod Max on and your Square watch on, you don't look like a fucking idiot? Yeah, of course you do. But you also look like you have $10,000. So
sure.
That surpasses all that, and your shit working. Like, that's the other thing. That's the other side of it. I'll make fun of it, but it's like your shit working like it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Now it's only gonna work for 2 years before the update breaks it, so you got to buy a new one.
Right.
But your shit working flawlessly connected is when you get the Apple. That's what I like about Apple. When you get the Apple shit, the experience for the user is exactly what you imagine. And I know they have hiccups and updates, and sometimes your phone freezes up or resets. But for the most part, it's like when they tell you, "Hey, bro, when you open your laptop, when you get your brand new laptop at the mail, open that shit up." It's like, "Hi, Rob." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everything's already connected, and it's like, I like that. I do. I want that experience over here on this side, on the Samsung side, and we're slowly getting there. I mean, it's pretty much a lot of parity there, but it's just not as consistent and fluid as the Apple experience, But you still look like a fucking jackass.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I will say about Apple that does bother me, because I am in 99% in the Apple ecosystem. I have a MacBook Pro, I have an Apple iPhone, I have AirPods, I had dogs have the AirTags on their collars in case they get out of the house or whatever. So I have an iPad that I draw on, all that kind of stuff. The one thing that is frustrating about it is that it works 90-something% of the time, when it doesn't work, it will drive you fucking insane because there is nothing you can do to fix it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like your only choices are reflash the hardware and try to download the update. And if that doesn't work, go to the Apple Store and get new ones. Those are your options. As opposed to other tech, if you know what you're doing, you can troubleshoot, you can fix things, you can download patches or whatever. You can figure it out. But like, you know, this happened maybe a couple months ago. It's just my AirPods just stopped working. And I did all the things where, you know, you open them up and you hold them next to your iPhone and you do this and that and plug them into your computer and never figured out why they didn't work. Now, to be fair, all I had to do was I just went down to the Galleria, brought them in, and they gave me new ones, and I was good to go. But, you know, I still don't know why all of a sudden they stopped working. And, you know, they could have just stopped working in the airport or whatever, and I would have been fucking livid.
And Apple has been one of the biggest opponents of right to repair stuff.
Yes.
They don't want you to be able to fix it. They don't want you to be able to fix it. They don't want you opening up nothing.
Like Tesla.
I guess. Right to repair seems like a no-brainer to me. But they don't want you to be able to open anything, cheat anything, whatever. And cheating is part of the fabric of America. Because this is what I hate. I hate it when they tamp down on what the average person is allowed to do because of what a very, 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 very tiny subsection of America might do. You know?
Facts.
It's like they try to control what everyone does based on what a small portion of people might do. You know, it hardly ever happens. You know, the very few Americans are ever in a situation where they are surprisingly in danger. Mm-hmm. But we live like we're all constantly in danger from all directions. And I'm not saying people don't live in danger. I'm saying usually if you walk into a bad neighborhood, you know it. You know, usually if you live in a bad neighborhood, you know it. You know, and very rarely are you like surprised by, you know, but we live like we live our lives like everyone around every corner is a criminal. Every fearful person I talk to is always talking about what could happen. They never want to talk about the probability of it or the likelihood of it.
What's crazy as well is like if you talk to Americans about that kind of stuff, they think like they are so American pilled that they just think that's how it has to be. And then when they go somewhere else, they're like, hey, did you know that when you fly in Australia, you don't have to take off your shoes? You know, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to take off your shoes anywhere. Like, what are you talking about? It's only in America you got to do that shit.
Yeah. But Australia, I'll never forgive Australia for banning Grand Theft Auto. You know?
Oh, yeah, I remember that happened, yeah.
They bring it. It's like that. It's like who the fuck did that? Why don't they talk about it more? That was like crazy censorship. That's a perfect example of it. They were afraid that some kid might be influenced. It's like I hate that shit. Nothing has shown that. Nothing has shown that a video game has ever caused anybody to fucking, you know, beat the fuck out of a hooker and drive around the city for no reason, completing missions. Because why is it's always the worst thing in the game they're scared that some kid's gonna do. You know, it's never. Oh, wait a minute. I mean, before Grand Theft Auto, there was no Uber Eats and Lyft, and maybe it has influenced the whole generation to drive around the city completing missions. Man, yeah, we got to ban a lot of shit then.
That's a bit, Brian. That's a bit. I'm on to your tricks. I'm on to your tricks.
I guess that's a bit now. I'm gonna write that motherfucker down.
Did you know? So my Diablo.
Write it down on my
4,
Samsung with my S Pen.
my Diablo 4 is Street Fighter 6, which I have not had a chance to play yet.
Yeah, see, but I like that
because
because you can get a couple games in and just get off that thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but
you can't do that out here.
I did not learn until recently that Mortal Kombat is effectively banned in Japan because of the violence. And because of that,
But
that's one of the
Americans
reasons.
aren't.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, though, why Mortal Kombat is not seen as like the marquee competitive game for like Evo and stuff like that, because basically you're cutting the number of Japanese competitors down to a fraction. Which, can you even really say that you're a world champion if you're in video games if you're not playing against Japanese people?
Koreans.
Well,
Koreans dominating. They dominating at least competitive games. Koreans are pretty much dominating everything.
I wonder if Mortal Kombat's available in Korea.
In fact, I don't think Japan won shit in competitive games.
No, Mortal Kombat's banned in Korea as well.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
What's the reason for that?
Violence, extreme violence, including graphic violence and various fatalities.
Because of the violence.
I think that's one of the reasons why at one point NetherRealm Studios, which is the company that makes Mortal Kombat and Injustice, which is the DC fighting game, at one point they had acquired the license to make a Marvel game, I believe, and I think it ended up getting canceled because they either had to like cut out the violence to the license is so expensive for Marvel that they either had to cut out the violence, which would have made it not a NetherRealm game, so that they could sell it in all countries, or they had to lose money on it by only selling it in basically like America and the UK.
Yeah, but isn't that this is the difference between Japan and Korea. Japan is at least consistent. You know, they banning violent games. They blurring out dicks and pussies in their porn.
Mm-hmm.
For Korea to ban something over violence, and then you watch Korean horror films and fighting films and like what? Because Old Boy didn't get banned.
The Squid Games thing?
Squid Games, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. I mean, all of these, like, Koreans make some of the most violent shit I've ever seen. It'll be like a Korean love story and somebody get their head split open.
True.
So I don't know. It's very weird for them to ban something with violence. You know, I don't know. Okay, maybe that was just at the time.
People are weird about video games. Because I think part of it is that video games still have a reputation, I think incorrectly, for being for kids, you know, whereas film is seen as a more mature art form. Video games are still seen as toys for children in a lot of parts of the world, and even amongst like certain generations in the U.S., they see video games as lesser than, as more of a novelty or a toy than a legitimate art form.
Right, which is so crazy because video games might to make like an epic video game. I think it requires almost every discipline: art, music, storytelling, acting, and coding. So when a video game is a masterpiece, it's the mastery of all those genres. So for these snobby cunts to act like it's a child's thing, it's crazy. That's just snobby, boring people. You know, but it's almost like it took me a while to notice that. But you ever notice the people that don't like, you know, the people in the NFL that like band dances and celebrations? It's always people that can't dance. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's never somebody that was like, "Hey man, I got these motherfucking moves, but I don't think anyone should be doing it." No one does that. Everybody can dance, just shuts up and dances. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's always motherfuckers that can't dance, that hate to see people dancing in the end zone. It's not the losing team. It's not the opposing coaches. It's not the teammates. It's not the fans. It's just some old fuck that can't move his knees, that don't like to see other people that can. It's the same thing here. The sort of people that shit on games like it's some kind of other thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll sit down. Listen, I'll just put it to you like this. If you'll sit down and binge watch 90 Day Fiancé or Love on the Spectrum, don't tell me that my video games are for children. You fucking idiot. You've got nothing in your brain of any use. It's like you sitting down. It's like you sitting down and only eating celery and saying something about my bucket of chicken, my gourmet fried chicken. It's like what you're taking in has no calories, no depth, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this might not be great for me, but it's goddamn good. It was made by a professional. That shit you doing is like it you know, all of the derivative dribble that's on TV, because that's who these people are. The sort of people that watch all of this reality TV and shit are the same sort of people that are like, oh, you're playing video games? Like, fuck you. I love playing video games. You know what I'm saying? And if that dries up your vag, then get your dry ass vag the fuck on. If you think that's nerd shit, then move the fuck on. You ain't gotta. Why you can't just let people love stuff? Yeah, cause man, I've played some games where it's like it's the best game and the best movie I've ever seen at the same time.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Cause it can be, you know, it can be a storytelling medium that really can't be told any other kind of way. Cause that's what's gonna start happening. Is people gonna go, you know, people go, oh man, did you see Vandersnatched? Is that what it was called?
Vanderpump.
Oh, did you see Vanderpump? It was an interactive. Yeah, what you think that is, bitch? What's an interactive storytelling experience? It's a video game.
Right.
It was more video than game, but still, that's the future. In the future, all entertainment will be interactive. There's not going to be. I mean, well, maybe not. Maybe, who knows? But in the future, you're going to be interacting with your entertainment everywhere you go. You know.
I think it's also it betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of what interactive entertainment actually does for people. Because I think people who don't play video games, when you talk about it as like an interactive medium, they imagine just like a movie that you get to choose the outcome to, or that you get to choose you have influence on the events of. And game design is so much more than that, because it takes time and expertise and experimentation to make a game feel good, to make a game fun or engaging or meaningful to the person playing it, right? It's not just taking another medium and just slapping some interactivity on it. It's not just
right.
Taking a novel and turning it into a choose your own adventure.
Like, man, can you imagine if they'd have gave Cyberpunk, you know, another year and a half to cook? Man, that game had the potential, because it's still pretty good, even though it's bullshit. But that's the other thing, man. It's so, the margin for error is so small. You know, you can have thousands of bugs all over the place. Anyway, I think I don't know why people don't respect it. You know, but that's why Koreans dominate the gaming world, is because over there's not that stigma around playing video games. I always hated it as a child. I was like, I enjoy this. My grandma used to always be like, turn off that damn game. Like it was something, like it was killing me. You know what I'm saying?
It's like what you said, though, about the dances.
It's like, Grandma, our uncle's out. You need to go your ass outside. Our uncle's outside selling crack. It's not like there's good things happening out there. You need to get up and go. What you mean? What's out there? I don't know.
It's like what you said about the dances. People who can't dance get upset about that. So ladies with no dexterity in their hands and can't figure out the buttons, it pisses them off. They hate this shit.
Yeah. You know, you know what it is. I just think women don't like you in the other room having fun.
Yeah.
I know very few women that aren't triggered by that. Where your husband at? In the other room having fun? God damn it! How is that possible?
Now, to be fair, I do have friends who I'm like, you're playing too much Call of Duty. Like,
oh no. Listen, I get where you're going with that. It definitely can be addicting. You know, because just like weed. Like I know people that act like weed's not addictive. Because it's not physically, chemically addictive. But at the same time, they smoke all day, every day. There's people out there that smoke more weed than crackheads smoke crack. If it was readily available to them. Like there's people that like they can't just not smoke all day, every day. And so yeah, you might not be addictive in the sense that your body will fucking go into convulsions if you don't get some.
Right.
But you definitely addicted in the sense that the same way you can be addicted to a video game. Like whatever the endorphins are you get from playing video games, some people, it's their whole thing. It's a power fantasy. You know, some people put more into their online characters than they do into their real life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey man, your level 50 barbarian don't need to wash his ass. You do. You need to get up and wash your ass. You know? But no, I get it. It fucks some people up. But again, that's a small percentage of people. You know, because for some people, remember a few episodes ago when we talked about people falling in love with chatbots, right? And the initial thing is to judge those people, but for some people, that's all they got. Some people are obsessed with their video games, and that's a problem for them. But also, for some of those people, that's all they have. They can't go out and have no fun. They don't get laid. They don't know how. You know, there's a lot of nerds out there that make a lot of money that can't get laid. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, and it's not a physical thing, whatever. Some people just don't know how to be around other people. You know, or whatever. So their game is all they got. Now, is that healthy? No, not at all. It's not healthy. But what I'm saying is, it's not automatically unhealthy because this is how I unwind. And here's the other thing: it's not up to you to decide what's too much. Because here's the thing: when you're playing too much is when it has an adverse effect on your life. The same way you know you're drinking too much, right? The same way you know you smoking too much, you doing too much of anything. If it starts to affect your life in a negative way and you still can't stop, you got a problem. You know?
Right.
Yeah, of course. Because everyone that pre-ordered Diablo IV played the shit out of it the last 72 hours. Now all the adults are like, okay, now it's back to real life. You know?
Right.
I mean, now that dude that hit level 100 hardcore in 3 days, that motherfucker, he got a problem. He has an issue. That's an issue. He must not have no children. Or remember that couple that their baby died while they were both gaming?
What?
Oh, fuck. I do remember that. Holy shit.
Yeah. Their baby died while they were gaming. They were both...
so fucked up.
Boy, yeah.
How did the baby die?
I don't remember the details of it. Rob has a better memory than me. But he just had a baby, so his memory's gone too.
He I think it starved to death, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, just neglect. Imagine that. Like your baby literally back there starving, and you're like, but my client. Yeah. Yeah, those
Girls
people do have
starved to death.
South
Koreans. Girls starved to death while parents raised virtual child in online game. God damn.
How's the virtual baby doing?
Damn.
We are not okay. Let's establish why we're laughing, because we're not laughing at the baby is dying. We're laughing at the irony of raising a virtual baby instead of your regular baby.
Right.
That's what's funny. Okay, the whole situation.
And the irony that we were just talking about how good South Koreans were at video games.
hey, their virtual baby's alive.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about their prowess of child rearing. You know, They definitely kept that virtual baby alive. Yeah, I forget. Damn, we got off track. I guess who knows this?
Reading this article's bumming me the fuck out. Holy shit.
Who knew? Who knew this episode would be about gaming eventually?
Well, let's you want to do one more and then wrap up. Let's do a nice one to end on, maybe.
That's a good idea. Let you get back to child rearing.
Elizabeth Holmes enters Texas prison to begin 11-year sentence. That's a nice one.
Let's talk about this bitch. I mean, 11 years. That seems about reasonable. That seems reasonable.
If she actually does the 11 years, that's somewhat reasonable. I don't know. I mean, I think
she will not do 11 years. Now, here's the thing. I think such a small percentage of the female population is in prison. Can we look that up? What percentage of women
of the American, the U.S. population?
Right, versus men.
15% of, the male and female population is about equal in the U.S., and so 15% of jail populations nationwide are women. So the other 85% are men.
Okay, right.
Let's see. 47 out of every 100,000 women are in prison in 2021.
And for men?
I'm trying to find. Let's see. What percentage of U.S. men are in
47 out of every 100,000.
I got a thing from Chicago. It says 1.2 million women under correctional supervision, representing 18.5% of all adults involved in the criminal justice system.
Okay, so women are 18% of adults in the criminal justice system. Okay, so that's less than a fifth of the. So the reason I brought that up is because I think there are so much fewer women in prison as opposed to men that I don't think there are any of those cushy rich person prisons for women. Right?
Interesting.
I think she going to a regular prison. In fact, I think a lot of places got like I think a lot of women have to go to they share like a lot of the women's prisons like shared federal and state because there's so few, right? I would love to know because she ain't going to know. She's not going to like some resort. Maybe there's one. Maybe they built one like resort prison for women. But usually. But less women go to jail, and they usually less women go to prison, and they usually go for lesser.
No, dude, she's going to Bryan, Texas. That's not a good place.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. She don't got somewhere where because it's like, look, when Martha Stewart went to prison, where'd she go?
Normal ass prison, actually.
She went to a normal ass prison. See, right. So it's like. I don't think they have those for them. Like when Bernie Madoff went to prison, he went to like a nice place. You know, minimum security, got a library, a Wi-Fi, you know. He went to one of those places.
Martha Stewart went to Alderson Federal Prison Camp in West Virginia.
And that, what is that? That's not a cushy prison? Doesn't sound like it.
No.
Yeah. So
she went to Camp. It says here. This is from. I mean, I don't know how accurate this article is, but it says known as Camp Cupcake. FCP Alderson is said to be America's cushiest prison. Well, who says that? Said by whom?
Not the prisons. Maybe. But maybe it's true. Maybe they got like a little women's wing of one of these nice ass places. But maybe Elizabeth Holmes ain't got the bread. Because listen. She going to a regular
minimum. It says it's a minimum security prison, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's cushy.
This
sounds nice.
She did win.
It uses a reformatory model where women are housed in cottages.
Yeah, she won like an arts and crafts thing, you know. But that's what I'm saying. There's very few of those type of places for women. I don't know. I'm curious why Elizabeth Holmes isn't going to that place. Or maybe, because she don't really got money like that.
Isn't the crime violent too?
No, her crime isn't violent. No, her crime's purely financial.
But didn't she, like, as far as like people died because of the results?
No, I mean, I think people are. It's one of those things where like people know that she's a bad person, and so they're willing to sort of stretch to truth and make a connection that isn't really there. No one directly died because of what she did. But you know, when it gets talked about in a political way, I think people attribute deaths, but no. Because listen, if that were true, they would have ate. She would have got charged with that. There ain't no prosecutor leaving charges off the table. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No one died because of her. But people could have potentially died. People definitely, I think, maybe you make the argument people were injured, but this was mostly financial. You know, because listen, if the shit she was selling worked and somebody died, no one would give a fuck. The death ain't what they care about. But she tricked rich people out of their money. We can't allow such things.
So she is going to a camp fed, which
eventually.
No, that is apparently what this federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas is like.
Oh, it's a federal cushy prison?
Yeah, it is.
For women.
It is for women. There's only 600 women there. It's only 600 inmates. It's cottages. It's dormitories. But here's the thing. Here's what's interesting about this is what prison should be like. Prison shouldn't be the worst fucking place in the entire fucking world. If we're really gonna pretend as if it's a correctional facility where you gain skills and you re-enter society a changed person, if we're really going to tell ourselves that is the point of prison, then they should all be like this. They should all be like, this isn't a nice place to live. Like, you wouldn't prefer to be here than in your own house or like living out in society. You would prefer to like live in society rather than have no privacy, not be able to wear the clothes you want to wear, and not be able to wear jewelry.
But here's the fear that a lot of those people have is that if somebody goes, you know what, I want to kill you, I want you dead, but you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and fucking do that, and then go to Camp Cupcake for fucking, you know, for 10 years or whatever. Like, that's worth it to me. There's people that make that calculation for what prison is now. They go, so I guess that is actually to your point. A murderer is a murderer. And
I think
whether prison's
in general,
horrible or not isn't going to deter people from murdering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the truth is, with the current model we have, the only time people are scared to go to prison is right when they find out they're going. No one's thinking about, like, nobody's really thinking about it until they hear they're guilty. You know what I mean? It doesn't deter people from committing crimes. I think being okay and being on the right meds and feeling supported keeps people from committing crimes. You know, for the most part.
I think it's also when you go into the general population shithole federal prison, what tends to happen is in order to survive in such a place, you have to become a better criminal. You have to, number one, you suffer more violence in prison than you do outside of prison.
Nah, Rob, you're wrong. You're wrong about that. You watching too much TV. I would survive in prison, but I would be the prison poet. I would write people little poems of peace.
Yeah, I hope that works out for you.
I would mind my business. I would stay off on the side. I would share my meals, and I would have little peace poems that I would go, hey, stop. You know, I would hold out various holy books. Yeah, you can survive in the worst prison by just being peaceful, and like a non-combatant.
Cleric build.
You know, yeah. People
level 50 cleric build.
People like, leave him out of it. He's a shaman. You know. That's my fantasy. All right, that's a good stopping point. Listen, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and you want to get advice from the advice champ, email us at BSwithBrianSimpson at gmail.com. Hey, listen, I'm on tour. The next place I will be is Ooh, Denver Comedy Works. I'm coming to Denver again. Denver Comedy Works. The tickets are up now on BrianSimpsonComedy.com. Go to my social medias, the BS Comedian. Click on the link tree if you also want to get tickets to that. Also, if you want to, if you can't email us, you want to leave a voicemail to us, go ahead and call 323-451-1980. And don't forget, I also host every Tuesday night at the Comedy Mothership, Bottom of the Barrel, a stand-up improvisation show where the audience picks topics in a barrel and we pick topics. I don't know. It's a little teeny barrel. It's a real one. Don't forget anything? Nope, that's it.
ComedyFrequency.com.
Yeah, ComedyFrequency.com. Yeah. All right, I'll see you next week, Rob. Congrats on the barrel.